A 2-1 victory for Belgium sees Roberto Martinez's side book a place in the semi-finals. Chiche's team, meanwhile, Ali, going home. What a game, though.
Yeah, from the perspective of Belgium, it set up perfectly in the sense that Brazil had a lot of the ball, but then that allowed all the time and space for the counter of Belgium. And just Belgium on the counter looked dangerous throughout the course of the game. In fact, if their execution had been a little bit better in those counterattacks in the second half, maybe this would not have been as close as it was. Brazil will be disappointed, and I think, in individual performances and really the lack of energy of the first half, where Neymar is just kind of prancing around, kind of coming off the line every so often, but really not affecting the game. Coutinho not at his best as we have seen him throughout the course of the tournament. And really, you just didn't see a team that expected to be down 1-0. And when that happened, it was almost as if, wait a minute, this is not something we're used to, and you didn't see a reaction. You didn't see a team that was really willing to create chances going forward. Having said that, there are also a couple of bounces that didn't quite go Brazil's way, because if Thiago Silva, off his knee, goes into the back of the net, it changes the nature of the game. Overall, I just thought that Belgium deserved this from the point of how they executed their game plan. As for Brazil, they just came up short when they needed to execute at their best.
It's a bit of a cliche, wasn't it? A game of two halves. First half, Belgium completely dominated. Brazil were the much better side in the second.
Brazil lost this tie in the first half, didn't they? 2-0 down. Belgium played really well, and it was all a little bit too late. Brazil, he made lots of chances in the second half. They had a couple of chances right near the end at 2-1 to equalise, failed to score, and they were forever just chasing the game. And once you're 2-0 down at half-time, it allows the opposition just to sit back, defend even deeper than they did in the first half, and counter-attack at will, and then effectively start a time waste as well. Brazil lost their ideas a little bit. You know, Douglas Costa came on and he was forever coming inside. Coutinho wants to come inside a lot. I felt that if whenever they got wide or they had the patience to get a bit of width, that's when they were going to make chances. But unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. It's
interesting, Shaq, because we spoke yesterday, and as much as Belgium have got a lot of talent within their team, we thought that Brazil would get this done.
Yeah, and a lot of things. But firstly, I thought Brazil were very good in the opening 15 minutes, not just the effort from Thiago Silva that hits the post, but they had a lot of chances that were just one bounce away from falling at the right pair of feet and finding its way into the back of the net. But saying that, credit where it's due. Belgium had their lucky moments, but they earned those. Roberto Martinez made a key switch in leaving out Carrasco, bringing in Fellaini to sit in the midfield, and allowing Kevin De Bruyne to push higher up and closer to Romelu Lukaku. I thought that was key, and I thought that was where Belgium ultimately won the game, quite clearly with the second goal by Kevin De Bruyne. And all throughout, over the course of 90 minutes, no question, Belgium were the better of the two teams. The disappointing thing for me, from a Brazil and a Neymar perspective, as Ali was alluding to, was Neymar only came to life when he didn't get the penalty call. Once the referee waved that away, then all of a sudden he started to get angry. He started to stay on his feet a lot longer, and Brazil looked a whole lot more purposeful. Got their goal, maybe could have got a second, but in the end, you don't play a football game for 25 minutes, and certainly not against a team as talented as Belgium, and hope to win.
How do you explain that? Because it was clear, wasn't it, that he wasn't quite up for it initially.
But that's Neymar as a player. And I think what we have come to expect from Neymar in Brazil, because of his relationship with Tite, is that Neymar has been fully engaged and really has been the guy who's willing to take the pressure on. And he just feels like in this particular game, for whatever the reason may be, we don't know. We're not privy to that sort of information. But what I did see from Neymar today is in the first half, it's almost as if he was okay being on the fringes of the game, kind of observing what was going on. You cannot do that.
I don't think he wasn't up for it. I think that's the wrong phrase of words. It's just that he was, as Ali just said, he was simply on the periphery all the time. You need him to be the star man of the team, don't you? If it's not going well for Coutinho, he needs to be involved more. He needs to be demanding the ball all the time. You don't expect him to do things all the time.
Sure, so why isn't he? Why wasn't he demanding?
No, but he hasn't. He's been on the periphery all of this tournament, hasn't he? For one reason or another. There hasn't been a moment when I've thought, wow, he's been amazing. He had an assist and a goal in the last game, but it just came into that last 20 minutes where they started to get on top and really start to pour forwards, where he starts to get a bit of opportunity.
Part of that, I think, though, with Neymar, with Brazil, he's not the guy that just parks himself on the left-hand side. he does float around, or we have seen that. That's what we saw through qualifiers. That's what was so successful about Brazil, is that Neymar was hitting you from everywhere, and then you had the other players that fill in the gaps. But Neymar was just very comfortable, just kind of standing on the left-hand side and just saying, you know what, you guys sort it out over there. And I don't think Neymar, too many times today, 1v1 situations, he was all too happy to cut back and play back.
Right.
That cannot be Neymar. He's got to be the guy that impacts the game and takes somebody 1v1, breaks somebody down, and then has a shot on goal or create something for the team. Today, too many times, he was just happy with just saying, you know what, somebody else do it.
I think for quite some time, both Brazil and in particular Tite has been responsible for Neymar kind of pushing himself further and further to the periphery. All tournament long, things have gone for Neymar, even though he's made the most of challenges, and we've spoken about how much his histrionics on the field. But he was getting the calls. And as I mentioned, he didn't get those soft calls this time around. And at times, not just this tournament, but even when Neymar was having his issues with PSG, it was Tite who was coming to his defense and making excuses for him. When I just feel all tournament long, what Brazil needed is somebody just to grab a hold of Neymar, shake him by the collar and say, this is not what we want from you. We expect you to stand up to be stronger. How many times did Neymar just get a simple shoulder barge off the ball and went in comfortable possession at the top of the box? It was weak on his part, and at times it cost Brazil. And until he got angry and really started to get involved in this game, he was a liability.
Let's see what mark you gave Neymar, Ali. We asked you to give your marks out of 10 for the players today. And then we get a 4. Fernandinho gets a generous 3. Own goal, and it just seems to be the wrong end of everything.
Wow. They're brutal, eh?
Well, I'm just saying that for Fernandinho, it was clear, right? He steps in, and it's easy to point the finger at him because, well, Casemiro was not available. He was suspended. Fernandinho comes in, own goal, and then in the counter-attack goal by Kevin De Bruyne, he gets torn to pieces by Lukaku. Twice in the same sequence, and there were just too many turnovers from him throughout the course of the game. Paulinho did not affect the game. Willian did not affect the game. Neymar, we just mentioned. Gabriel Jesus didn't do much in the attack. Coutinho gets a 6 because of the nice assist in the goal by Renato Augusto. But other than that, you just can't do much. If you allow 2 goals in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, you're not going to get much more than a 5.
A word on Belgium, and we've said obviously a lot about
I think we have to be honest. Roberto Martinez's choice of players today was very brave on his part.
Yep.
They were unpopular choices. Assia Chadli and Fellaini, they're not popular choices if you look at what they've done in the Premier League, and they've played big parts for their clubs this year. Chadli joined a club that got relegated. To put them in at such an important moment of the competition and get the result, I think he deserves a clap on the back, because the amount of blocks Fellaini, Witsel had in the centre of the park, on the edge of the box, I think you can't even contemplate them. There was that many of them. So they all did the right job today.
As a side note, by the way, just quickly, VAR. The challenge of Vincent Kompany or Gabriel Jesus.
Yep.
If we have this system in place, how does the referees not called over and say, hey, I want to take a look at this? I'm only suggesting you have it in place, use it.
I suppose it goes back to the clear and obvious.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, of course.
And as we keep saying, you include humans at any point in this discussion, and there will be mistakes, there will be discussions, but yeah, I'm with Ali. I think this is one missed. Vincent Kompany gets very lucky there, and all of a sudden you get a penalty. I think that would have made it 2-1 at the time.
Yeah.
Early on.
And much earlier on in the second half, it's a totally different game. As much as, I kind of applaud the referee for not falling for some of the histrionics that we've seen go on before in the tournament, I think this one, he came in and allowed the history of what we've seen from Neymar in particular to cloud his decision, even though this wasn't Neymar involved.